All right, we're going to continue looking at the Handel Sonata number 4. This, remember, is a level 5 NYSSMA solo, and if you choose to do this for NYSSMA, you have to do 2 movements from it. I typically have students do the first 2, so I have a video on the beginning of the first movement. This is the beginning of the second movement, and this one is faster. You can see at the top the quarter note. Our goal is to have it be 100 beats per minute. Of course, as we are learning it, we're not going to go that fast. We're going to go much, much slower today. Make sure that you've gone through and numbered your measures, because I'm going to be referring to different measure numbers. And our goal today is to get all the way to measure 20. The nice thing, and we talked about this in the first movement, is we are in the key of D major, which most people should be very familiar with. And especially like the beginning of this one is in 3rd position. We play the 2-octave D major scale all the time, so we should be able to feel pretty comfortable with those finger patterns when we're up there. So go ahead and take your pencil. We're going to mark the beginning of this in 3rd position. And like I said, it stays up there for a while. So I'm going to go from the beginning here. We're going to go pretty slow. And remember, when you're in 3rd position, on the A and the E string, you're going to have the 3-4 finger pattern. Think about when you do the D major scale. That's where you shift up here. It's close 3 and 4, so it should be something that feels pretty familiar to us. So from the beginning, it's going to go like this. Then cross over to A. One, 2, 3, 4. And that's where I'm going to stop for right now. I did leave out the trill for right now. Remember, we talked about in the first movement, there is some ornamentation throughout. This one you probably can add in today. After you play through it a couple times without it, then just add the trill in. But it's good to learn it without the trill first, then put the trill in afterwards. So that whole section I just played was just in 3rd position. It's kind of like when we do lesson book stuff, exercises, where we're going back and forth between the E and A string. You just have to know what finger belongs to each note, and you'll be fine, keeping that 3-4 finger pattern. Then things start to get a little bit different in the last measure of the first line, in measure 4. So we're in 3rd position. This is a C sharp, 3 fingers, so it'll be 3, 1, 4, over to A, 1, 4, 1. And now the next note is a C sharp. You can't play that very easily in 3rd position without crossing over and stretching your first finger. So what they're going to have you do is just back up, because it's only a half step lower than where your first finger is. So just take your first finger, back it up a half step, and then get right back to 3rd position. 4, 3, 1, 3, 1. So that whole thing has been in 3rd position, except you're just going to back your first finger up for that C sharp. It's not even really a shift, it's more of an extension back. You might think of it kind of like when we play a B flat on the A string. So it's not where your first finger would normally go, it's a half step lower. So let me play that whole section again to the second half, through the first half of measure 5 from the beginning. Not at the full tempo, but just so you can kind of hear what it will sound like in rhythm. I'll put in the trill this time. So it's going to sound like this. Should be more or less straightforward. It might take some time to get those notes down, but it's all stuff that we've learned how to do before. Next, we're going to go to 1st position. We love when this happens. Get a nice extended period in 1st position. I want you to take a look. We have A, 3 fingers, G sharp 2, F sharp 1 finger, and then there's a couple of E's, and they've marked underneath 2 fingers. So they've said that you could shift to 3rd position there. This is one that I would give you the choice. What they ultimately are saying is they don't want you to play open E. But you can see that right after you go to 3rd position for the 2 fingers, you go right back to 1st. So I'm going to say if you'd like to shift, you can. For many of you, this might be an easy shift to go up to 2 fingers. But if you're a little bit hesitant to do the shift, just play the E with 4 fingers. So it's kind of up to you. I'm going to mark third because I'm going to do it the way it's written. But again, by the time you get to a level 5, there's some places where you can make some choices about what you feel would be the best or the easiest way to play it. Okay, you just can't play open E. So I'm going to go from where we left off. This is a tied note, so it's 2 beats. It's going to sound like a half note. Okay, so it's A, G sharp, okay, shouldn't be too hard. The counting's a little funky with the ties, but otherwise not too bad. This is another spot where if you just listen to someone do it a few times, it'll get stuck in your head how it's supposed to sound. Next, we're going to do a very similar thing, but up in third position. So we're going to go all the way up to a high, high D, 4 fingers on the E string in third, 4, 3, 2, 1, over to A, 1, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so again, just basic third position stuff. Now the next 4 measures, it's not, I thought it was 3 for a second. The next 4 measures are a little bit tricky. And we're going to do these super duper slow. Eventually they're going to be faster, but again, the best way to learn this is to go slow. Every 2 groups of 16th notes are the same chord. So you're actually going to set your fingers down and kind of keep that pattern for 8 notes, or 8 16th notes, 2 beats total, and then move to the next chord. So we're going to kind of deal with it 1 chord at a time. So you can see the first set, you have 1 finger in third position. By the way, you're staying in third on the A string, 1 finger on the E string, so those stay, and in between you're going to add 3 on A. So it's going to sound like this. And they're all going to be a similar pattern where you're going from A to E, back and forth, just often barring 2 notes like this and then putting down a finger. So it'll be. The next chord, the next set, you're going to go back to second position, but it's just a teeny tiny shift. Your first finger is going to be back on that C sharp where we shifted back to last time. And then your second finger is going to be on A. So they are literally a half step, smushed really close fingers right next to each other. They need to be touching or you're not going to be playing the right notes. It'll be 1 and 2. That's what it should sound like. And then the finger you're putting down again is 3 and it's a whole step, so you're stretching. So you can see the pattern that we have going. They're similar but not the same. That was measure 13. I want to do all of measure 13 again. So it's going to sound like this. So you try it with me slowly. Ready, and here we go. Now back. Okay. The nice thing is if you know measure 13, you know measure 14. Measure 14 is the same. The only difference is musically when you get there, it's piano, not forte, so it almost sounds like a little bit of an echo. I think I said this already, it will be faster. We're doing it really slowly, but I would stick for a week or so with doing it that tempo and then kind of work your way up to doing it faster. So we're going to skip measure 14 for right now, going down to measure 15. Mark that we are back in first position. We like when that happens, right? Being in first position. This is the same thing you did in third, just in first. So 1, 1, 3, 1. Then open 1, 2, 1. Okay. Measure 16, third position. And you're going to see this it keeps coming back. It's starting in a different spot, but it's 1, 1, 3, 1. So it's really the same thing over and over again, just starting in different spots. So 1 on the D string, 1, 3, 1. And then this last bit is exactly what you did on the A and E strings. You're going to back up a half step, put the second finger close, you're actually going to stay there in second position. You might want to mark it. I didn't have you mark second position before, but since we're going to stay there, it doesn't hurt to mark it. So let me play that whole section for you really slowly so you can kind of hear the chord changes, see where your fingers are supposed to go. This is starting from measure 13. Ready? And here we go. Back to first. Up to third. And back to second. Okay, so again, that tempo for about a week. Eventually you're going to want it. There's a little bit of a range of like where the tempo can be. Obviously you want to pick a tempo that you can be successful at. So probably on the lower end of where this could be is, let's see. So that's about on the lower end. If you got it a little faster, it might be closer to this. Sorry. So somewhere in that range is what we're looking for. The good news is the rest of this is very easy compared to what we just went through. So I'm looking at measure 17. We just ended in second position with our first finger on an F sharp. So we're just going to hang out there for a bit. We have 1, close 2, 4, 2, harmonic, and then I would do open A. Measure 18, back to third position. 1, 3, 1, 1, A. Stay in third, 2, 4, 2, 1, still in third, 1, 3, harmonic, and D. So we're hanging out in third for measures 18, 19, and 20. And it's as far as we're going to go today. So most of this is very basic third position stuff that we've covered before, and then that crazy middle part, those 4 measures. So we're going to want to spend a lot of time working on those 4 measures, but still we want this beginning all to sound great. So working through it slowly, making sure you're playing it in tune, making sure you're having the right rhythm, which you might want to find, like I said, with the first movement, someone on YouTube who is recording you really like, and just listen to it over and over and over again so you can kind of internalize what the rhythm is supposed to be. Let me play this slowly, measures 1 through 20, and then I'll do it a little bit on the faster side so you can have 2 options to play with. So we're going to go, let's see, because we want the 16th notes to be bum, 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 bum for the slower side right now. So it's going to feel really slow at the beginning. I always think, what do I want my 16th notes to sound like? You can see that is not the only 16th note passage. There are 16th notes everywhere. So I think about how fast I want those to be, and that sets my pace, because it's really easy to go too fast at the beginning, because the beginning is easier than the rest of it. Okay, so 1, 2, ready, and here we go. Up to third. And a 4 E and a. good goal tempo after a week or two of working through this. You should be able to play at that tempo. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit, play a little bit faster. I'm thinking 16th notes. Da, 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 dum. Alrighty, and here we go. E and a 4E and a. Alright, so its measure is 1 through 20. We will pick back up with measure 21 next time.